first and foremost is I found that he has such a big and generous heart. He was so loving, kind, accepting of me as a friend. And I could see that I knew he was wrestling with issues and he was having struggles of how to proceed with some areas of his life, but he was the real thing. He was genuine and unwavering, his faith, his commitment. You see, he had been at the very end for himself. He knew there was no more going on. And he had made that decision that he would come to God and ask for forgiveness, that he would trust Jesus to be the one who would save him here right now, but also the one who would offer him forgiveness and be the one he would spend eternity with in heaven. And as I got to know Bill, it wasn't just that he was the real thing and that he was genuine. He had an amazing ability to tell stories, pretty much like no one I've ever met. One of my most favorite things was driving from Portland down to Lincoln City, where that's where he grew up. He went to Taft High School, he played sports down there, and Bill just loved to tell all the stories of what it was like, playing on the sports teams and then later with the bowling and the drag racing. And he was into basketball and baseball and football and quite an accomplished athlete, though it did sort of seem like the stories got a little bit better from one year to the next, okay? and so maybe a tiny bit of embellishment here and there, okay? But he was just a fun storyteller, and I could listen to his stories endlessly. But he was not only a good storyteller, it's like I said earlier to some of you, he was like the master of one-liners and puns. You could say something like, yeah, I'm feeling a little warm here, and rub your head or something. And he'd say, oh, are you a hothead? And this would just go on and on and on endlessly. He was able to make up these puns and one-liners and all these different word plays. But beyond that, he also was really good at sports trivia. I don't know if you guys ever had a chance to ever try to play him in sports trivia. I wouldn't recommend it. The only person I've seen that has even come close is my son-in-law, Connor. Connor's also really good at sports, but Bill, he could just pull up these facts and these figures from years and decades ago, and it's like, how do you know things like that? And it was interesting that even a couple weeks ago, Bill, in his weakened condition, was on a Zoom call with myself, my wife, Julie, and also my daughter, Becca, and son-in-law, Connor. And Connor and Bill are trash talking each other about sports trivia. Like, oh, I got you next time. Next time we do sports trivia, I'm gonna show you. And that is just the type of person he was. He was so good at sports trivia. His sense of humor was that he could laugh at himself. We had an episode that we laughed at for years. This was back when we were living here in Oregon, here in the Gresham area. My wife came in from the garage and she announced to Bill and I, there's a huge rat in our garage. And we're like, of course, we had to, give it back to her a little bit. Oh, you saw a little tiny mouse? Did it squeak at you? And so we were giving her kind of a hard time about the little mouse she saw. But then we decide that we would man up and we do the manly thing. So we went to go find my BB gun and see that, okay, we're going to go on a mouse hunt in the garage. And so we went out there and we looked everywhere you could. We kind of rearranged things and tore things apart. There was no mouse. And so we put the BB gun down and we had a pretty good laugh, kind of kidding my wife a little bit about it. And she said, well, there's still some more firewood over there. And so we said, okay. We moved in the last piece of firewood. We moved out of its place. A gargantuan wharf rat, the size of a cat, ran out and ran right between Bill and I. We both screamed that. And Bill did the first thing that came natural to him. He ran over to try to jump on top of our washing machine. Now, Bill's like 350 pounds, okay? Now, can you imagine this Bill trying to jump up on top of our washing machine when my wife was already up on top of the machine? So, to say the least, we got years of laughs out of that and so many other stories.